It's quiet. Nothing is wrong. Actually, everything is fine right now. Work is okay. No big problems. No emergencies. You're just sitting there. And then, almost out of nowhere, your mind starts going. You start replaying that one conversation from 3 days ago. The thing that person said. The way they said it. You start wondering if it meant something. You start building a whole story around it. Maybe they're angry at you. Maybe something is about to fall apart. Maybe you missed a sign. And within 5 minutes, you're in the middle of a full emotional situation, except nothing actually happened. Be honest. Do you do this too, or is it just you? Because here's the thing. You're not anxious. You're not dramatic. You're not broken. But your brain, it keeps going back there. Back to the tension. Back to the what ifs. Back to the imaginary problem that doesn't quite exist yet. There's a reason this keeps happening, and it goes much deeper than you think. Think about the last time your life was genuinely calm for more than a few days. Not everything is perfect, just stable. No drama, no urgency, no crisis. Did it feel good, or did it feel uncomfortable? Here's what most people never say out loud. When life gets too quiet, something inside you starts looking for a problem to solve, a threat to monitor, a conflict to mentally prepare for. You start overanalyzing texts that seem perfectly normal. You start imagining how a difficult conversation could go, a conversation that hasn't happened and may never happen. You feel this low, restless tension, and you don't know why. That pattern has a name. Psychologists call it threat scanning, and your brain has been doing it your entire life. But here's where it gets interesting. That pattern isn't a flaw. It was actually built for you. And once you understand why it exists, you'll never look at your own mind the same way. Your brain runs a core program. It's very old, and its one job is simple: keep you alive. To do that job, your brain needs to stay ahead of threats. So it learned to run simulations, scenarios, rehearsals. What if this happens? What if that person is upset? What if I make a mistake? This was incredibly useful when threats were real, when danger meant actual danger. But your brain never got the update that most of your modern life is safe. So it kept running simulations. And over time, those simulations started to feel real. The emotional charge in the imaginary scenario, your brain treats it like it's actually happening. The stress hormones activate. Your chest tightens, your mood drops, and you spend an entire evening emotionally drained by something that never occurred. Here's the metaphor that makes it click. Imagine a smoke detector so sensitive it goes off every time someone makes toast. It was built to protect you. It's just responding to the wrong signal. That's your brain on imaginary drama. But there's something even deeper going on underneath that. And this is the part most people completely miss. The real cost isn't stress. It's not anxiety, though those show up too. The real cost is presence. Every minute your brain spends inside a fictional emotional crisis, it's pulling you out of your actual life, your real relationships, your actual opportunities, the real version of today, which is right in front of you. Think about it. The conversation you rehearsed 50 times in your head probably went nothing like reality. The disaster you mentally prepared for never arrived. The conflict you emotionally lived through for 3 days quietly resolved itself without a single word. But you felt all of it. You spent real emotional energy, real time, real pieces of your attention on something that existed only in your mind. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Some people start to prefer the imaginary drama because it feels meaningful. It feels like you're doing something, processing, preparing, being careful. But you're not doing any of that. You're just giving your brain the stimulation it's addicted to. Here's where the story changes. That habit, that pull toward imaginary problems, it's not evidence that something is wrong with you. It's actually evidence that your brain is very good at its job. A brain that runs threat simulations is a brain with high emotional intelligence. It's a brain that cares about outcomes, that pays attention to relationships, that takes things seriously. The issue isn't the ability. The issue is that the ability is running on its own, without your direction. Think about it this way. A person who can vividly imagine future scenarios is also someone who can plan ahead, empathize deeply, create carefully, anticipate what others need before they even say it. Same brain, different direction. The problem was never that you feel too much. The problem is that no one taught your brain where to point that feeling. So what do you actually do with this? Here's the mental model that changes things. Your brain doesn't stop simulating. That's not how it works. But you can become aware of which simulations you're choosing to stay in. When your mind starts building an imaginary crisis, there's a moment, very brief, easy to miss, where you have a choice, not to stop the thought, not to fight it, just to notice it as a simulation, not a reality. That one moment of awareness breaks something loose. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion, the ability to see a thought as just a thought instead of a fact about the world. You're not denying the feeling. You're just stepping slightly outside of it, watching the thought instead of being inside the thought. It's a small move, almost invisible, but over time, it rewires the loop. Your brain starts to learn. This signal doesn't require a full emergency response. The toast is burning, but the building is not on fire. Remember that moment at the beginning? You were sitting in silence. Everything was fine. And then your mind went somewhere it didn't need to go. Now you know what was actually happening. Your brain was doing its job. The job it learned a long time ago, in a world that needed that kind of alert, anticipating, threat-ready mind. It just never received the message that you are okay, that the silence is safe, that you don't need to manufacture a problem to feel like your mind is working. You do this. Most people do. The ones who seem calm, the ones who seem like they have it together, they're not exempt from this loop. They've just found small ways to notice it faster, and the noticing is everything. You don't need to fix your mind. You need to understand it.